There's a brand new performing arts venue opening up its doors in Willimantic, offering an intimate space for live music, dance, virtual arts, and more. The River Room, located at 50 Riverside Drive in the basement of 750 Main Street, just beneath the Spiral Arts Ceramic Studio, is set to become a cultural hub for the community. With seating for 65 guests, this nonprofit venue promises an up-close and personal experience for both artists and audiences alike. And I have with me one of the founders, Chris Beaudry. Hello, Chris.
Hi, Mark. Thanks for having me today.
Thanks for coming down. I'm happy you reached out and told me all about this. I'm very excited.
It's a very exciting thing. And in fact, tonight is kind of the pinnacle type show that encapsulates everything that you just described this venue is, because we have all of the modalities pretty much of art. We have visual art and music simultaneously happening tonight. The muralist Ben Keller. Who his work can be found all over Willimantic. I mean, he got his start in Willimantic, Connecticut, really honed his craft here. He'll be painting a live canvas painting while a band, Evan Wood and the Blueprint, perform their very own unique style of hip-hop jazz. I believe you played the Gary Bartz composition Libra at the beginning, but their take on Libra, and they had performed that at Parkville Sound. So we're really excited to have both of these talented young men in the room tonight, leading their own craft and hopefully creating some synergistic magic tonight at the show. Yeah, we're sold out, by the way, so very exciting. I'm sure the room is going to be electric.
Very cool. It's great to hear. So tell us a little bit about, you're co-founding this with Daniela de Sousa, right?
That's
Can you tell me a little bit about her and how you got together?
Sure. So you mentioned Spiral Art Studios, of which she is the owner, which is right upstairs in the 750 Main Street building. If you're unfamiliar with Main Street, Willimantic, that is more, the north side of Main Street, more towards the Frog Bridge. There's a lot happening there. Trigo Wood-Fired Pizza Restaurant has been there, I think, 2 years at this point. They won Best Restaurant Windham County recently.
Wow.
And we're proud to have them host our bar at the River Room. So they're providing food and beverages, light snacks, because the show started at 8 o'clock. And we're really, one of our tenets in our mission is to spur the downtown economic scene there in terms of like leisure activities, entertainment, arts, and culture. So, we encourage people to dine out on the town and then come and see a show. Shows are averaging an 8 o'clock start time. There are a few other things, like we have Wally Lamb, national best-selling author, releasing his next title with us that starts a little bit earlier. We have theoretical physicist Dr. Ronald Mallett showing his documentary film, How to Build a Time Machine, and also bringing his memoir, basically, The Time Traveler. So he'll be showing the documentary, signing his books, and we're looking to do all kinds of different things like that. So it is really just showcasing all of the best arts and culture in the area. We have a lot of local bands coming. Patty Tuitt, great blues musician who sells out the Packing House. I think there's 120 plus seats in there, and she sells it out no problem every year. So we're excited to have her. We have the Cafe Trio coming, which is a group of musicians, including Jan Youngden on accordion and flute. There's two guitarists, Mark and Beverly Davis. There's a acoustic upright bassist, Lou Chady. And then June Bazance, who actually is a professor emeritus at this point. I'm not sure if she's still active at Eastern, but she taught in the visual arts department, and she's also a stunning jazz vocalist, so she's bringing her group there. So we're showcasing local, regional, and national talent. And I was mentioning, in fact, you were playing a little bit of Zakai Curtis, who a Connecticut native, Connecticut-born pianist from a very musical family, just won the Grammy for Best Latin Jazz Album for his album Kubob Lives, and he's going to be doing a two-nighter in June.
Wow.
So our programming is robust, to say the least. We're excited.
Yeah. That's amazing. I just learned about Zakai a couple of weeks ago. In addition to this show, I do the New Music Alliance Radio Hour. We feature only local original music, and
that's great.
We had Jesus Pagan on as a guest, and he played Zakai for us, and I was blown away.
Yeah.
Amazing. No doubt that he deserved that Grammy Award.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Best Latin Jazz Album 2025.
Yeah, because Zakai is a protege of Eddie Palmieri, and
Yep.
so he's in good hands. And Zakai just told me he's about to start taking lessons from Kenny Barron, who's probably one of the greatest living jazz musicians on the planet currently. So
Wow.
it's only up from here for Zakai as well. Yeah.
I'm excited for him. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, you told me about your collaboration with Daniela. Are you going to have mixed age audiences?
We're doing, for insurance purposes, it's a small, intimate venue, 18 plus, but under 18 with a parent or guardian. So there is that noted on the ticket site. We want to encourage everybody to experience what's going on down there. I mean, it's there are myriad different presentations. I want to encourage young people to experience this, but if they are under 18, we are requesting they be joined by a parent or guardian.
Paris Monster. Poppy, it's funky, modern with a hint of like the 80s in there, I think. Where did you find them?
Josh Dion, who's half of Paris Monster, they're a duo, but when you experience them, if you were to go on YouTube and search Paris Monster, Josh performs the drum. He must have 4 hemispheres to his brain, because he performs the drum with the left-hand side of his body. He plays the keyboard with his right hand.
Oh, man.
And then he sings as well. And then he's joined by guitarist Jeff. I am blanking on his last name. I'll get that for you. But they're currently based out of Brooklyn, New York, but Josh went to E.O. Smith High School. I believe he was class of 1997.
Oh, wow.
If I recall. And my cousin, actually, who directs the Wyndham Concert Band here, Catherine Namasic, had Josh as a student back when she taught at the Mansfield Middle School. So Josh is born and raised in this part of northeastern Connecticut, but he's since taken his music internationally. Paris Monster tours Europe. They tour Asia. They're based out of New York, so they're playing all the top spots, New Blue, all the spots in New York City as well. Joe's Pub. Yeah, they're a great band.
Cool.
Fantastic.
I'll have to play them on the New Music Alliance radio hour.
Yeah, it's too bad that you can't play video on the radio, because you have to see Josh, like what he does, how he's able to handle all those things at once.
I was watching one of the videos this morning. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's going to be a spectacle of a show, too. Yeah.
So, any other plans for getting involved in the community? Do you see yourself in the Boombox Parade this year?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Probably. I am heavily involved in the community here at large. I booked the music for the Willimantic Street Festival as well. So we have our first fest of 2025 coming up May 15th. So the Street Fest is in its 22nd season.
Is that the third Thursday?
Third Thursday Street Fest, yeah. And the reason I'm late here today, Mark, I apologize, but I received a large 20 by 10 tent delivery of 3 tents in my yard, and I looked at the weather and I couldn't leave them outside because it's going to thunderstorm possibly later, so I had to drag those in. But we're gussying up the joint, so to speak. We have 3 main stages, and then we have all kinds of auxiliary satellite stages throughout the fest. So I believe genre-wise, we have everything from Latin to blues to rock, alternative, singer-songwriter, jazz, pop, DJ. I think we have all our bases covered at this first May Fest. So if you go to willimanticstreetfest.org, you're able to see or .com, either one of those. I'm not sure at the moment. But,
I love the Willimantic Street Fest. It's always a good family-friendly event.
And it's getting more and more popular, more and more robust. Big shout out to ECSU, actually donated quite a few $1,000s to our season this year, so we want to thank them as well for being involved in the community outreach.
We have a new president here at Eastern Connecticut State University. Yeah. And have you seen his playlist that he put out on Spotify?
No, I haven't.
He's got an eclectic...
He's a hip dude?
He's hip. And in fact, I invited him down, and he accepted. We just don't know what day he's going to come down, but he's going to be here, and we'll play some of his playlist.
Yeah, he showed up very early on, before he was inaugurated. I know he had his inauguration the second week in April there, the 11th. But he showed up at the Willimantic Downtown Neighborhood Association meeting back in February, if I recall, and he just seems like he wants to be really involved. His outreach, he's going into local businesses saying hello, introducing himself. He has an open door policy. Right on the website, you can schedule meetings with him. So I'm really encouraged by how he's trying to make ties with the community. So big shout out, Dr. Kareem Ishmaeli. Yeah.
this university has had a good history of university presidents, Dr. Nunez and Dr. Carter. I remember both very well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ben Keller, our artist of note tonight at the River Room, painted the Walnut Street parking garage in Willimantic with Dr. Nunez's portrait on there.
Really?
So it's three prominent female figures, Dr. Elsa Nunez, Ella Grasso, and Toni Morrison on the garage in downtown Willimantic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And Ben Keller, of course.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I love that when I used to go to Swan Day CT events, support women artists now, and they always had somebody up on stage painting during the performances.
That's cool.
It's really cool. So I'm looking forward to that tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What else can we talk about? Natalie Cressman and Ian Facchini?
I believe that's how it's pronounced. I've only ever seen it written, so.
I just watched one song by them, and I was thinking, this is like Gabriela y Rodrigo with a trombone.
Yeah, yeah.
Brazilian Songcraft, that's going to be on May 9th.
May 9th, and that is about to be sold out. I believe we have 9 tickets remaining for that as well.
Wow.
And the website I should mention is River Room Willie, like Willimantic, WILLI.com. Yeah, Natalie, I actually learned about when she opened with Ian, this duo that is slated to come to Willimantic, opened for Snarky Puppy. I'm not sure if you know.
Oh, yeah.
At the Jorgensen last year, I believe it was.
Oh.
And they are signed on to Michael Leagues. He's the founder of Snarky Puppy, but he's also the founder of, I believe it's Ground Up Music is the name of the label that he started. And so Natalie and Ian are on Michael's label, and so they were touring with Snarky Puppy as the opener.
Oh.
And I immediately went and bought 2 CDs, one for me and one for my co-founder Daniela, because she's Brazilian and they're playing, Brazilian music. We actually used to play in a Brazilian band together called the Brazilian Project.
Ah.
And she loved it too. And I'm like, oh man, I would love to see these guys again. They reached out to us because they're putting together an East Coast swing tour, and they live on the West Coast. And just by happenstance, a mutual friend reached out and said, hey, we know you just built this place, but if you're not too busy, would you consider this band? And then they kind of like treated it like it was a cold call and gave me all the information. I'm like, say no more. I read the second sentence with their names, and I'm like, they're booked, and it was a good thing because they're selling real well, and it's going to be another one of those intimate, just extraordinary shows. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. Chris Beaudry here from the River Room, the new venue in Willimantic. We're going to be right back. It's going to take a quick break. And we're back with Chris Beaudry. I keep screwing up your name.
You got it not right first, Mark. Beaudry.
Beaudry.
Yeah. No.
Beaudry. Chris Beaudry from the River Room. And exciting. I should also say... Where's my phone? My phone is recording, so I can't check. I believe the Frank Vielli show tonight at the Packing Room, the Packing House, is postponed until September. So if you were planning on going to see Frank Vielli tonight, well, I would say you can go to the River Room, but they're sold out. So you're out of luck both ways. But anyhow, tell us more about your dream to put this all together. This is not a simple thing to put together.
Certainly wasn't. A lot of elbow grease, a lot of sweat equity went into it. We are configured as a nonprofit. We're currently a project of Willimantic Renaissance Inc., which is the organization that does put together the street festival. Ah. Also the Hop Fest. They're involved with the Willimantic Chocolate Fest, Trick or Treat on Main. It's just a fantastic organization. Big shout out to Jean Dismay, who started this organization with a lot of her close friends some 23, 24 odd years ago. Wow. So I have been kind of nomadic in the last few years, as a lot of people have been, due in part to the pandemic. I was living in New York City prior to 2020 for, from about 2014 to 2020, and working at jazz clubs, the Jazz Standard. There was another club in Brooklyn just down the road from the Barclays Center called Made in New York. And I was working as an agent also at a company called J. Chris & Co. So I was doing a lot of booking and a lot of, involvement in the clubs themselves. And I'm a performing musician myself, so I was just trying to make a go at it in New York.
Is it saxophone that you play?
That's right, yeah, tenor saxophone. So the New York thing kind of, they say if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. And such was the case. I gained an immense amount of experience and came back to Connecticut. It was, I believe, March 8th, 2020.
Oh, wow.
And that wasn't because of the pandemic. I had a planned vacation to come home, see the family, just hang out a little bit with mom, help around the house, whatnot, for a week. And 3 days into that week, the proverbial S hit the fan. And I ended up just staying in Connecticut and letting my lease elapse and move my stuff out in the middle of the pandemic with masks. It was chaotic, to say the least. But, I bided my time for a little while, and about 18 months into the pandemic, I was hired to be the manager of the Side Door Jazz Club in Old Lyme, Connecticut. Oh. Great club attached to the Old Lyme Inn. After 2 years of doing that, I was promoted to manage the hotel and the restaurant component of that too. So, they have a staff of about 25, 30 people. They present 2 shows at their club a weekend, all jazz. And I'm a jazz head by nature. I love the post-bop era, Sonny Rollins, Hank Mobley, John Coltrane. So it was right in my wheelhouse. And since I had, a big book of connections, I brought a lot to the table when I worked there. I ended up producing 2 outdoor festivals that were wildly successful. We made Taylor Kinsler. She's on NBC CT. But we got good coverage, and we ended up getting National Endowments for the Arts jazz master Kenny Garrett to perform, and child phenom. He's not a child anymore. He's 21 years old, but Joey Alexander, a Filipino pianist who he cut his first album, I believe, at age 11. And so, I was working down there doing my thing. And eventually the time just came where I said, you know what, I think it's time to make a change, try something different. I wound up moving back from East Lyme to Storrs. I live on 195 in Mansfield. And I've always had an affinity for the scene in Willimantic. It's eclectic. There's creatives in every nook and cranny.
Didn't you get your start at Corleone's?
That's right, yeah.
Open mic night?
Open mic night at Corleone's. I actually took it over from a super talented guitarist named Shane Leahy, and it was small at the time. I invited Shane was hosting it solo, so he would play, but he was just technique-wise, like jaw-dropping, right? So he was doing a solo hosting, and then when I took over, maybe 6 months or a year after he started it, I ended up hiring a house band that was composed of local musicians, and then at the time, students at Eastern and UConn. Clayton Spinner was the bassist. Josh Scherf was the drummer. Michael Verselli was the keyboardist. Michael now lives in Brooklyn or Queens, New York, and plays professionally. And we had a rotating front people for each one of the nights, and tried to make it fresh every week. So we had a house band that opened up, and then we would open it up and have all the instruments there, so people could play keyboard, guitar, whatever they wanted to do. And then we started hosting these Battle of the Bands. So we started those in 2012, I believe it was, and I did 3 installments of that before I moved to New York City, and then it carried on with Derek and Dom were their names, and other people who carried the open mic torch. But we did a revival one back last year, 2024, and it was a lot of fun. I met some, because I was disconnected from the community from 2014 when I moved to New York City until the pandemic hit. But it was good to reestablish ties with a lot of the local music, the bands and stuff. And there's so many great bands at UConn and Eastern. So we got some student bands in there, some local favorites, and it was just a lot of fun. But yeah, Corleone's open mic still continues to this day. Every Thursday night, I believe they start between 8:30 and 9. And the alum from the original house band, Josh Scherf, the drummer, is now the host, and he's doing a great job. So shout out to Josh. You can see him. He's the manager by day at the GameStop in the Eastbrook Mall, but fantastically talented drummer and bassist. And he's usually joined by a gentleman, Jay, who plays drums, who works at the Natchog Hospital. So, yeah, local, live music, Corleone's Cafe every Thursday at 9 o'clock. Check it out.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I love being connected in the local community and local arts. And can you see, I know you're just starting out. You just had your inaugural show open up, last week?
Last Friday.
Last Friday, yeah.
Hard to believe, 8 days ago, yeah.
Gosh. So, is there any like long-term goals that you have?
Well, so the space we're in, and that was part of the story that I missed there. Danny, owning Spiral Arts in this 750 Main Street building. When I returned to town, she invited me to play ping pong. Actually, she had a small group of friends that they were playing ping pong in the basement of the building, and just because it was like an open shell, a long rectangular space with this kind of corner that I thought to myself before she even mentioned anything, wouldn't it be cool to have a stage there? And then she opened up and said, you know what, I've been thinking it would be real hip to have an arts like dance and music. And I said, say no more, let's do it. and so that was, I would say, late summer 2024. By October, we were looking around for, potential structures for, having a company or a business or a nonprofit. We ended up applying for our own. And the state of the federal government right now, we have no idea,
Yep.
what's gonna transpire. So we ended up asking Gene and the people of Willimantic Renaissance. The board unanimously approved our idea for the art space. We did fundraising. We got it built with, I'd say, 85% volunteerism.
Wow.
I always shout this man out because he was integral in making this happen. He donated 4 months of his life to overseeing the project and leveraging all of his connections from years in the construction business in town. Mark Dressler, former owner of Design Center East, and D&W is his company. And we had Dan Snelson, who's a local bassist. I play in a blues band with the Kingpins. He volunteered every weekend for 4 months of his time, so he was working 7-day weeks to see this to fruition.
Wow.
We had support from Sweeney Painting of North Wyndham. There's just so many names. Chris Gunderson is a gentleman who does great graphic design, designed our logo. So, yeah, the volunteerism and the mobilization of the community was like a sight to behold. In terms of the future, we just want to continue with the regular programming so that people already see Willimantic as an arts and culture hub. Like there's Molten Court artists, there's Swiftwater's Artisan Collective, there's the Bliss Marketplace, all the things that happen on the Shaboo stage, the history of the Shaboo. David Foster's been a huge support. He bought our piano in that room.
Oh, cool.
Gave us a check for $6,000 to buy a nice Yamaha upright piano.
Wow.
Because the stage is a little small, so it fits nice, but it sounds great. In fact, David, for one of our inaugural nights, paid out of his pocket to have the pianist Mitch Shakur come and play. Mitch was Joe Cocker's musical director in the 70s and 80s. Huh. And so he did a concert. And so, thanks to David Foster, lefty. But just keep regular programming, expand our programming, open mics, dance classes. In fact, dance classes start next Wednesday, May 7th.
I was going to ask about that, yeah.
Yeah, so Oswaldo Tirano, who's a local instructor, has been teaching in town for many, many years. But he's been kind of like, I used the term nomad before. He's been nomadic in his instruction because he teaches at the community center. He teaches at different restaurants in the area. But Danny was taking part in his classes and said, wouldn't it be nice to have a home for this sort of thing? And now that we have, the professional PA sound system and the space and the hardwood floor, it's perfect for dance classes. So dance classes, their enrollment is currently open, and there's all kinds of levels. If you're like me and you have 2 left feet and you haven't, danced at all, then I'm going to do it. So I'll be there, and I will look worse than you, whoever you are.
I doubt it.
So, they say, oh, but you're a musician. Don't you have good rhythm? It's not the case, man.
No.
I wasn't good at math either, so, yeah. Anyway, dance, everything, poetry. We have authors coming, documentary films. I want to do it all.
Cool.
I just love art. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Do a documentary film on college radio. You got you got HUS and WECS right here.
Yeah, yeah.
Planting the seed.
I also want to give a shout out to Joe Malinowski of Willimantic Records.
Yes, yeah.
Because there was some documentary stuff on like populist pudding, and all these like things that I had no idea were happening. Granted, that was back in what was the 80s or 90s, but documenting these things too, I think, is extremely important. We're lucky in Willimantic to have radio like this, WECS, WHUS down the road, WILI, community radio right there, The Chronicle, Neighbors Magazine.
What's left of The Chronicle?
Yeah. I mean, but they're holding it together. We shout out to Nicole Zappone. She did 2 stories on us. And
good.
We took out ads in The Chronicle. So, people say, who knows who's reading that. I kind of don't care. It's
My mom
it's
does.
a great, yeah, exactly, right? And she might come to some shows at the River Room. So, yeah.
That's cool. This is a great, positive, upbeat story of the community coming together, and I love it. And definitely looking forward to seeing many shows at the River Room. And I was so happy when you called me. I'm like, whoa, that is so cool.
Yeah, man. If you're around tonight, pop your head in. 8 o'clock show. Yeah.
Cool. I'm excited to see what it looks like. I drove by this morning just to make sure it's right next to where Willimantic Records used to be.
That's right. Yeah. So 50 Riverside Drive. If you punch it in Google Maps, it's strange because the address is kind of in the ether where exactly it is, because the post office delivers mail to 750 Main Street. So it's in the 750 Main Street building basement. So our parking, we have plenty of it on Riverside Drive, 50 Riverside Drive. Yeah.
Could you ever open that up for like an outdoor event?
So there's a group of young men who own, in fact, one of the young men is Daniela de Sousa's son, Caio. They own the building next door. They just started renting it, and one of the renters now is Professor David Bellis from Eastern, who has a karate studio there called Crane's Wing Martial Arts.
Oh, wow.
But they have a courtyard that faces the back parking lot, and they used to do a lot of concerts. I don't know if it was Caio and his group or maybe some of their friends or musical enthusiast cohorts, but they had the Psych Shack, and there were all kinds of shows back there, and I think they're in plans to do some other stuff down there this summer. So the River Room is all about supporting them. The more music, the better, I say. So
yeah,
bring it all.
absolutely.
I mean, they presented a great band, the Soul Gyres.
Oh, yes.
9-piece band with horns.
Yes, I
and,
love horns.
I hired them for the Street Fest, and they tore it down last year.
Wow.
So stuff like that it gets me jazzed up, so to speak, energized. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, Chris, hold on. Do you want to play a quick game before we go?
Okay.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back with Chris. Welcome back to Something Different with Marky Ramone here at WECS, and I'm joined today with a special guest, Chris Beaudry of the River Room. I'm going to be saying that a lot. The River Room here in Willimantic, Connecticut. So we're going to play a quick game before we let you go. It's called Lyrical Ponderings.
Sure. Okay.
I'm going to give you the name of a song.
Oh, God,
That
I'm not
name
gonna
of the song is in the form of a question. Like, what is love?
Yeah.
Got
to do with it.
Yeah, or that one. So you can either answer the question or tell me who sang the song.
We'll see how I do here.
Well, you're into music. I'm sure you'll do well.
If it's esoteric jazz titles, I'll crush it. But if it's pop music,
don't think I
maybe
have
not
any.
so much.
No, I don't have any esoteric jazz. Here we go. The success rate is probably less than 10%.
Oh, good. That's good to know going in. All right.
But-
low bars are good.
Pick a number between 1 and 201.
53.
53. Here we go. Would I lie to you? Really?
Drawing a blank.
You're a lot younger than me.
I kind of got to see how the format works, so give me the answer on that one.
So the name of the song is Would I Lie to You? That is the Eurythmics, 1985.
The Eurythmics. I was born in 1985, so yes, I am a little younger. Yeah.
A little bit. Awesome. Well, you can't win them all.
Yeah. All right.
But you know a lot about esoteric jazz, so that's
I do.
cool.
Yeah. Like that Gary Bartz tune that the band was covering Libra from the beginning of your show today.
I didn't know that was a cover.
Yeah. Right.
So that's tonight, right?
Yeah, Evan Wood, Ben Keller, live mural painting or live canvas painting with live band. We are sold out, unfortunately, but there's actually quite a few tickets left for Paris Monster, which is next Saturday's show. The indie rock, alt rock band from Brooklyn, New York, where they're a duo, but they sound like a quintet. So
Where half of his body is playing drums, half's playing piano,
and singing. And he sings.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is something to see right there.
Riverroomwilly.com again is the website. Riverroom, WILLI.com.
So it's not going to be a .org. It's .com.
I did it before I thought. Acted before I thought. Yeah.
And you can purchase tickets online, right? I think
That's
event something.
Yeah. So if you go to riverroomwillie.com, all of the events are listed in block format, and then you can click on the event. It'll take you to our ticket site, and on the ticket site, there's actually a video for each performance. So
I like that. Yeah.
You can preview. Yeah. What's going on.
I always like that because you want to get a taste of what you're going to go see and a nice little description to help. At least at me as a DJ, I love looking at that stuff. So Chris and Beaudry, thank you so much for coming down.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
Come back anytime and tell us about what's going on down there. And best wishes to you. I hope you have a big success.
Same to you, man. 35 years on the air since 1990. Here's to another 35. All right.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna let's play a song. I think I had something queued up from another artist that's gonna be down there. Here, Natalie Cressman and Ian Facchini. Is that next Friday?
That's next Friday, yeah. I
next
think there's
Friday.
10 tickets left, so.
Cool, so check them out right now.